as our reinforced battalion got started up the hill, you had 5 meters between men, 2 columns 10 meters apart. Going up a mountain, it took a long time for you to get 800 and some odd guys going. So when they initially encountered the ambush, we hadn't even moved yet. And they got up there, and as it turned out, there was a regiment that was dug in. That's 2,000 men, 2,000 Vietnamese dug in along this mountain, and that's what we ran into. As we got spread out, they took another regiment, another 2,000 men, and hit us in the middle, try to cut us in two, get 2 forces as opposed to 1. Back where I was at, coming up the hill on the other side, was another regiment, another 2,000 men. I had my squad of 11 guys and another 4 men that were assigned to me, and so there was 14 of us down there. And all of a sudden we realized, we're in a battle. And I know we were under heavy fire. We were just absolutely getting our butts kicked. And our guys stayed, fought, and I kept calling up my platoon sergeant, telling him, we're under heavy fire. I don't know how much longer we can stay here. Can we come in? And called and called and called for several minutes and never got an answer. And so finally I reasoned, well, what if the guy's dead? What if we're supposed to be going in? What if we're supposed to be getting out of here? But then I didn't want to just leave our rear unsecure, so I didn't want to pull in. So I put a fire team leader in charge, told him, hold the guys here, I'll be right back, I'm going to find out what's going on. And as soon as I said that, I saw the look in his eye, and I just knew I could read his mind. It's like he had a book there for me to read. He just knew that I was getting out of there. I was going to save myself. I was going to get someplace where it was safe. And I told him, listen, I promise you, I won't leave you here. I'll be back. And I took off. And as I was leaving, I remember him telling me, Sarge, don't take too long. We can't stay down here much longer. I told him, okay. I went just a few minutes. And I don't know who I'm looking for or where or who's in charge as I'm going up, and there's just tons of wounded where these guys had already been shot. And then I'm going up, got up to where this second lieutenant was. He was the forward observer for the artillery. I said, sir, what's going on? He said, well, haven't you heard? We're pulling in to form a perimeter. It was the old, like you did in the old Western movies where they circled the wagon trains. All the Indians are on the outside and all the cowboys are in here. Well, that's what we were trying to do, to get everybody so we knew where the enemy was, we knew who we had, and where we were at. And he said, we're trying to form a perimeter. I said, okay. And I started back down. He asked me, Sarge, where are you going? I said, sir, my men are still down there. I've got to go get them. He said, no. He said, our orders are to pull in with what we've got to form a perimeter. I said, sir, I told my men I'd go after him. I wouldn't leave him there, and I can't do it. And he said, Sarge, our orders are to pull in with what we've got, form a perimeter. And I kept on going. He said to me, if you take one more step, I'll have you court-martialed. I said, sir, if you really think we're going to get out of this thing, you can do whatever you need to. And I kept on going. He said, I'll give you 10 minutes, and we're pulling out. We're going back down after these guys, and as I'm going back, coming through the jungle, coming up the hill, is these Vietnamese soldiers. I mean, like 2 million of them. And they're as close to you as I am. And these guys they've all got weapons, and they're all looking for a target to shoot. And I'm coming down in front of them, and I'm figuring, well, you're the target of the day, let's get shot. That nobody shoots at me, nobody even sees me. They're looking, and I know they just look right through, and I'm okay, and just kept on going. And I got through these guys, and I'm like, my heart was, it was out here going one of these numbers. And I finally got to where my guys were, and I told the guys, we got to get out of here, we got to go now. I started grabbing them on. We got to pull out, we got to go, we got to go. And they all, one by one, here they come. And I just told them, start running uphill. And finally, my last guy, he was my machine gunner, Carlos Lazada. A little a Puerto Rican kid from New York City, from Brooklyn actually. And he was my machine gunner. Boy, you could just hear that thing going. I grabbed him and said, Carlos, we gotta go now. He said, Sarge, if we all go, none of us are gonna make it. And he was right. Once he started shooting that thing, they would have just run right over the top of us. I said, Carlos, I can't ask you to stay here. He said, you didn't ask me to stay here. I said, I told you I'm staying. Get the rest of the guys up to the perimeter. I said, Carlos, listen, I know we can make it. If you just come with me right now, I know we can all make it. He said, Sarge, I'm not going. Get the guys out of here. I left. He stayed. And we could hear that machine gun going, and all of a sudden, bam, it just stopped. He always had a revolver with him, and that thing went off 6 times. And that was it. And I knew he was dead. When they recovered his body, right there at that position, he was credited with over 40 kills that they knew of right there. He was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And I know if he wouldn't have stayed there, I wouldn't be here today. I know that none of us would have come off that mountain if it wouldn't have been for him. As we're going up, I finally caught up with these guys, and I told them, guys, as we're going up the hill, we're going to run across, we're going to catch up with the goots that have gotten by us. I said, don't shoot at them. And they all look at me like, what are you talking about? Don't shoot at them. I said, just trust me. And I don't know how I knew it. I honestly don't. But as we're walking up, and these guys are in front of us, and we're coming up behind them, and you can see they're just looking. They're looking for a target, so they're moving very slow. And we're running as fast as we can go. And we get up to where these guys are at, and I just motion the guys, just come on. And we walk right through them, right? And these guys are looking at me like, and I don't know, just come on. And we finally got away from them. Past them and into where this lieutenant was waiting on us. And I told these guys, I told my fire team, we would take these guys on into the perimeter. I'll be right down. Because as we're coming up, they're wounded. We have wounded laying all over the place. And I told this lieutenant, I said, sir, we've got wounded down there that we can help. There's a lot of guys that are shot, but if we get them up and get them moving, we can save these guys. And he said, no, he said, our orders are to leave the wounded. I said, sir, we can't just leave these guys to die. He said, Sarge, our orders are to leave the wounded. We've got to get up to the perimeter. And I started on back down, and he yelled at me, same thing. Sarge, if you take another step, I'm going to have you court-martialed. I said, sir, you've got me on one. If you can get me twice, you have at it. And I kept on going. 3 of his own guys jumped up and followed me. I didn't ask him, and he didn't tell them, but they came down with me. And I told these guys, I said, listen, anybody that's not leg shot, anybody that can walk, get them up, get them moving. And they got to go now. You don't have time to bandage anything. You got to get them moving. And we just started picking guys up, just telling them, run uphill, run uphill. And I haven't got a clue. 40, 50 guys would probably help get up and get them going. And just about that time coming over the hill, breaking through into the jungle, I could see these gooks that were coming up the hill after us. I said, guys, we got to go. That's it. We got to go now. They all just turned around and started going. And as I turned, laying right in front of me at my feet, in between 2 logs, was a soldier. It was on the ground. And he was, he got hit in the neck where I could see an artery had been hit, and the blood was just pumping out of his neck. I could see his lung coming out of his chest where he had a hole where his rib cage was gone, and his lungs were coming out. He'd been shot in both legs. And he looked at me. Says, don't leave me. The hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life was walk away from him. And that's been almost 40 years. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't see him, I don't hear him. and he's asking me not to leave him.